My guest today is an innovator with over 15 years experience in direct-to-consumer sales and is the CEO and founder of Latched and Hooked Beauty, a textured hair care brand with a mission to diversify the hair extension space. She is the first Black faux hair designer to create a synthetic wig product and have it debut on QVC's live shopping network. Please welcome my friend Tiffany Gatlin to Intimate Details with Dr. Tiff. Hey.
I'm so excited.
I know.
Listen, I'm so excited.
This makes me so happy. I'm so excited that you're here. I'm so excited for the people to understand and learn about what it is you do. Latched and Hooked, of course, but just all the things, because you are a multifaceted, multi-hyphenate entrepreneur. And I think that, one of the reasons why I wanted you on is because I feel like we all can learn so much from you. But welcome to the program. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm honored to be here. Thank you so much for asking me and allowing me to share with your audience.
Now, see, Tiffany is very relaxed right now and reserved, but she won't tell you that she just spent the weekend. Hold on. We're not even going to talk about the weekend. Prior to the weekend, you and I were on Instagram going back and forth about Barbie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Barbie,
yes.
Which is all the craze right now. I literally feel like they have a unlimited marketing budget, because when I tell you that they have been marketing everywhere like crazy, you can't go anywhere without seeing something about Barbie.
Yes. When I tell you, I thought the movie had already came out like a month ago. Because I was seeing so much promo on it a month ago that I was like, oh, it must have dropped last weekend, and the movie it's still not out.
July 21st, and they're still going, and they're still going. Yeah, it's wild.
Hard.
Yeah, it's wild.
Hard. But yes, you had gone to, and a friend of ours, I think too, Victor Jackson was there, friend of the pod. Victor Jackson was at this event in Atlanta, a skating event. Yeah. And Tiff had to throw together a last minute Barbie look. And she looked amazing. So the footage
pressure.
I know. But it was so fun for me to just be on your Instagram like, oh girl, you need to wear this. I gotta find this. Let's find your outfit.
Because y'all were just throwing out all kind of ideas, and I was like, listen. Look, I'm not going to stress myself out about this.
Honey, I was stressed out for you, because I'm like, how they going to call her at the last minute and be like, come on down to the Barbie Playhouse and come dressed to impress. Yeah. Oh, that was so fun for me to live vicariously through you.
It was a fun time. It really was a fun time. And I actually haven't done any like influencer events in a very long time. Actually, like several years. So it was good to be back out and about and seeing some of my influencer friends out there. So it was a good time.
Yes. Well, I want to get into the influencer game, because that's actually what we started talking about. And I'll get to that in a second. But I do want to talk to people about Latched and Hooked. Now, when we booked this interview, I've been rocking my natural hair for, I've been rocking my natural hair for years, but I hadn't had anything in it. Usually I'll have some braids. I'll have something going on, a little So Natural, mutual friend again, yes. I'll have something going on, but I knew that I was going to go on a little vacation of my own, and I needed some braids or locks or something. And I was like, ooh, wouldn't it be nice if my hair was locked by the time I did this interview? And she did. She did. So I did. And you were my inspiration for that. So let's talk about Latched and Hooked and how it has become, in a very short period of time, a major game changer in the Black hair care, not hair care, but hair product industry. Tell us about Latched and Hooked for those who don't know.
So, I'd love to start right at Latched and Hooked, but a lot of people don't know that Latched and Hooked is actually my second beauty company.
Okay.
So I actually entered into the beauty industry with my first beauty company, which was called Curl Colon Hair Collection, where I created the first pre-curled and looped crochet hair on the market to prevent Black women from hot water burns while protective hairstyling. If you remember back in like 2015,
honey,
the crochet curls was like all the rage. All the girls wanted this roller set look, this rod set look. And we were literally dipping our heads in hot boiling water, to set the braiding hair so that we could take the roller out and we could have these voluminous curls. And so at that time, you know, I was an entrepreneur and I was trying to find out different ways to diversify my income. And so I went back to what I've known from years prior, and that was doing protective hairstyling. I've been braiding since I was 16 years old. And so I said, you know what, I'll just start like doing crochet hairstyles, you know, charging like hairstylists. They weren't really doing crochet hairstyles in the salon because it's dangerous and it's a liability because you got to dip that hair in hot water to get those curls to set. And a lot of the stylists and salon owners was like, no, we're not doing that. That's a liability.
Who wants to take that on?
We're not going to get sued for burning somebody with hot water. So a lot of the salons weren't doing the style. They learned
from McDonald's, didn't they?
They learned from that hot coffee, and they were just like, we don't have time. Okay.
We don't have time for this foolishness. No.
And so I said, you know what? I'm going to start doing the style. I'll charge, I think I was only charging like $80 to do the style. It would take me about 3 to 4 hours to do, you know, a full look or what have you. And I was just doing that on the side just to earn some extra money. But one thing that I learned while I was doing that, you know, one thing that a Black woman is going to tell you when she's sitting in that chair, you know, for all the Black women who are listening, you've sat in the salon chair, you're going to spill the tea to your hairstylist. You're going to let her know what you like and what you don't like.
Yeah.
And
or you ain't coming back.
Exactly. And a lot of the Black women were just, you know, they were saying how they love the style, but they just felt uncomfortable because, you know, the dipping of the hot water, the steam, them being scared of potentially getting burned.
Absolutely.
And so I thought about that, and that evolved into Curl Colon, which created the curl. The curl was already done for you. So it did a couple things. One, for women who didn't know how to rod, if you didn't know how to roll the hair around a rod, and that is a technique in itself. If you didn't know how to do that, Curl Colon had you, because we already had the curl done for you in 4 different sizes. And then the other thing that it did, it eliminated that piece for hairstylists who wanted to do it in the salon but didn't want, you know, the risk and the liability
associated with that.
So it was already done, and it was done for you, and you could do it at home yourself, you know, if you're a DIY person. And so it just took off, and it literally became a $1 million company in 10 months.
Oh my gosh.
And so, you know, this story is out there. I've done it a million times and people can Google and find it, but I ended up having, a bad relationship with my business partner. And the only way that we could basically dissolve the company was to actually sell it. So we ended up selling the company to another, hair extension brand called True Glory, and, True Glory bought Curl Colon, and they actually still have that brand underneath their brand umbrella. And so they, you know, are currently selling. And I decided that I wasn't finished. Curl Colon was just a stepping stone for me. I had more that I wanted to do with that brand. So I ended up starting Latched and Hooked. And when I started Latched and Hooked 7 years ago, it was going to be me basically continuing the sale of the crochet hair, in that, you know, because part of the sale was I could continue selling this product. So True Glory would basically be, and Curl Colon would actually be my competitor at this point.
Yeah. Well, kudos to you, just not to interrupt you, but like kudos to you, because most people, when they do sell their company, there's a non-compete in there where you can't compete with the brand that you just sold. But kudos to you.
Yeah, I wasn't going to sell with that clause.
I love it. I
wasn't going to sell because I knew that there was more that I wanted to do. And I was literally, I mean, we had only been in business 10 months. You know, so there was so much that I wanted to do. There was so much potential in the space. There were no competitors at that time because there were no other brands, not even Asian brands who were selling the pre-curl and loop crochet hair. So the market was super ripe. It was open. It was wide open. And I really wanted to do more in that space. And so when I started Latched and Hooked, I was just going to sell the curl, but it became, I was so, it was hard because I was competing against Curl Salon, and people kept saying that I was copying Curl Salon. They didn't know that I was actually the creator of this this business. But it was really hard for consumers to really separate Curl Salon and Lashed and Hooked. And so I had to find a differentiator that would set me apart from Curl Salon. And so it just so happened that my daughter got her hair braided for the first time, and she experienced scalp irritation, and she had to take her braids out the next day.
Oh.
And you know how much braids are.
I do.
A lot.
I do.
So I was not happy that we had spent over $200 for braids and we had to take them out the next day. Yeah. And I personally had never...
It is not a negotiation at that point. When your scalp is on fire and the braids are itching, there's not a lot of options. Certainly, we can soak your head in some apple cider vinegar. We can do all the things.
Which doesn't work, by the way.
Right. We can try. Yeah. But that itch, I mean, it will literally cause your scalp to get red, the bumps, the redness, all the things. And
all those.
And especially for littles, like they shouldn't have to go through all of that.
Yeah, and it was just too much for her. You know, at that time, you know, she was, I think, 9 or 10, something like that. And it just wasn't working. And so I personally had never experienced scalp irritation before, so I didn't understand the level of pain that she was experiencing, but I just knew that it needed to come out. And so long story short, you know, one of the things that I decided to do was I wanted to understand how synthetic hair was made. Because even with Curl Salon, you know, that was synthetic hair, but I didn't really understand the
science behind
the science. Thank you. The science behind how the hair was actually made. And so this time around, I really was interested in the science. How is synthetic hair made? I didn't even know at that point that chemicals were actually used to create the formulation of synthetic hair. I don't know what I thought synthetic hair was. You know, when we were growing up, they used to say like, oh, it's horse hair. It's, you know, all kind of things. So I didn't know, you know, what it was. And so I started doing some digging and some research, and I found out that yes, you need chemicals to create synthetic hair. And, you know, most things that we use chemicals, but not everything that we use has to be toxic chemicals. And this was the case with the synthetic hair, that there were toxic chemicals being used to formulate synthetic hair. And nobody in 5 decades has mentioned or said anything about, you know, toxic chemicals being used to create synthetic hair extensions. And so my daughter had this issue.
Well, we have to think about like who is selling the product, and do they care about like our concerns. We've had a couple of beauty entrepreneurs, and I would include you in that batch of guests on the podcast, where there has been this opening in a market, and especially in an urban or Black market, where the producer of the product there's been this need all this time, but no one ever addressed that need or felt like this particular consumer really they didn't really care about our needs as consumers. They were just pushing a product. And so that's what had been happening for years. It was like, oh, okay, they'll buy it. They don't care. They're not asking any questions. They're just happy to have the product. And that's not true. That's not true.
Even that they don't care, is that you don't know what you don't know.
For sure.
And you don't know that you don't know the questions to even ask. You just think like, okay, maybe this is just a me problem. You don't, and, you know, synthetic hair and a lot of beauty is not regulated. So there's nowhere for you to go to even hold the discussion. And that's what the problem was. Like, there was no community, no forum for Black women to go and say like, hey, I'm experiencing this, not 7 years ago. Now there is, but you know, 7, 8 years ago, there were no forums to hold these type of discussions and communication about our hair, really. You know, we were still very secretive about the things that we used and did while wearing protective styles. Now, women will tell you that they're wearing hair extensions. They'll show you the process
or whatever. Let me show you how to cut the lace, everything. Right. But you're so right. That it used to be a thing like, don't touch my hair. Not even don't touch my hair, because that's still a thing. But don't get up in there and touch them roots, because you might find a surprise in there. Like now, please let me know who did your hair, did the weave, who
Black
put
women
it
are
in.
Exchanging information. They're telling you where they got their weave from. They're showing you that they're wearing weave. They're proud that they're wearing weave. Like, that was not happening. It's an evolution. That was not happening 8 years ago. And so, when Latched and Hooked came on the market, what I wanted to do was really change the narrative on a few things. I wanted to change the narrative on the fact that Black women wore hair extensions, specifically protective styles, because we didn't like our hair. We didn't like our hair texture. We didn't like our hair. So we, put braids in there. I wanted to debunk that myth. I wanted to debunk the myth that soaking your synthetic hair in apple cider vinegar would remove the chemical, because that was not true. So
say that for the people in the back. My God.
There were just different things that I wanted to debunk. I wanted Black women to feel confident about their hair. I wanted them to understand that beauty didn't equal pain, because for so long we've had this narrative about it has to hurt in order for it to work. It has to burn, and before you know that it's working. The braids have to be tight for you to know that it's good. It's the trauma
we have put a lot of ourselves through in order to look a certain way.
Yeah,
this is like, we have been on multiple journeys as a people. And the hair journey in the Black community, I don't think there's ever been a succinct, like, I don't know, ancestry lineage. Like, this is amazing. What you're saying to me right now, like, we've put ourselves through so much trauma, in our follicles through so much trauma, just because we wanted it. I remember, and I think Blackish did an episode on this too, like, getting perms as a young girl and like trying to leave it on as long as possible, even though it's itching and it's burning and all of the things. I got to leave it on as long as I possibly can so I can get it straight as it possibly can. And then having scabs on your hair because it literally burns your scalp, but that's what needed to happen in order for your hair to look how you wanted it to look. And what you're saying is part of your creation of Latched and Hooked was helping Black women understand you can get the looks that you want. First of all, appreciate the natural texture of your hair, right? But you can get the looks that you want without that. Pain is not necessary.
Exactly.
It's not necessary to do what you're trying to do, sis.
Exactly.
Calm down.
And I wanted mainstream beauty people to understand that when you see a Black woman, again, specifically in protective styles, because that's the area that's the niche that I'm in. But when you see a Black woman wearing protective styles, you can assume a few things about her.
Okay.
If you see a woman wearing braids, locks, crochet, these are the things that you can assume about her. She could be on her fitness journey.
She could be.
She could be preparing for labor and delivery.
She could be. She was. Not today.
She could be on her way on vacation.
There you go. That's where I'm living right now, for sure. Yes. Keep it
She
going.
could be growing her hair out from a shorter look.
Been there, for sure.
And lastly, she could just be tired. She's tired of doing her hair every day. She's tired of manipulating her hair every day. She needs a break.
She needs a break. Because this don't comb itself. I can't just run my fingers through and it's done. No. We don't wake up, shake, and go.
Correct.
No.
Correct.
Not in a Black household. I don't. Yeah, no, that makes total sense to me. Yes.
So those are the things that we, I wanted, the beauty industry, again, mainstream beauty, to understand about Black women, is that we are sitting 6 to 8 hours, 4 to 8 hours in salons to get our hair done for various reasons.
Right.
None of those have anything to do with us hating our hair.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And so let's change that narrative, because just throw that out the window. And then, you know, and then just again, that narrative around beauty equals pain. Like we wanted Black women we wanted to begin to have this conversation about, you don't have to be in pain to feel beauty, to look beautiful, to feel confident. So let's cut that narrative out. And so those are the conversations that we've been having for the last 7 years. We haven't just been about, oh, buy this braiding hair, buy this crochet hair, buy this wig. We've really been using hair as a vehicle to drive conversations that really were not had prior to Lashed and Hooked getting on the scene.
I love it. And so you started with for Lashed and Hooked was the first product, the crochet extensions.
Yeah, the crochet curls was the first product that we launched. And then a year and a half later, we introduced braiding hair.
Yeah.
And braiding hair is actually our number one. Braiding hair is now what we're most known for, is our non-toxic braiding hair. It's our number. And if you remember earlier on, I said, God, I need to find a differentiator that differentiates Lashed and Hooked from Curl Cologne, because we're just being compared so much. And the braiding hair ended up being the thing that separated the brands.
Oh my gosh. A journey.
A journey.
And it happened so crazy. So it's like you had two businesses that in relatively short, I'm saying short, but especially the first one, right? Short, 10 months period of time. But then with Lashed and Hooked, still a short period of time, you've seen a crazy rise in success. We talked about it in your intro, that you've been recently on QVC with this hair.
Yeah.
How
February.
do we go? Yes. Yeah. This is a lot. Kudos to you. But then, and it's so wonderful to see, someone who started just with an idea and understanding that I have to differentiate myself in this market. How do you get there in such a short period of time, do you think? What do you think the secret sauce is for you?
I think
because clearly you have the recipe.
Do I? I mean, 7 years doesn't sound like a short amount of time. It feels like I haven't been doing this for long, but saying 7 years is like, wow, 7 years, total eight years in the beauty industry, but 7 years sounds like a long time, but it doesn't feel like I've been in this space long enough. I would say, I don't know if I have the secret sauce. I'm constantly learning every day, but what I do know is that I am good with connecting with consumers on a very human level. And I think I do that better than any of my competitors. So I think that is how, number one, I've been able to stay around for so long and relevant for so long and really kind of pioneer in this space, is because I understand how to connect with consumers where they are. And the stories that I'm able to tell them are real. They come from my household. They come from my children. They come from me. And so when I talk to consumers, they're like, yes, I deal with that, or my child deals with that, or I've experienced that. And so a lot of the other brands in the space, are like Asian owned brands. They don't use the product. They don't have those same types of stories.
History.
And so they really can't connect, which is why a lot of those brands hire Black women to work for them, so that those individuals can connect with the consumer, because they know now that they don't have any relevance, any connection to the consumer. And so they hire people who look like the consumer so that they can connect with them.
Sneaky. And this is a perfect segue, because what I wanted to talk to you about was the whole idea of social media influencing and the influencer and affiliate marketing. But this is part of why. So some of these brands may not have a diverse backing. right? They may not have been created with that diversity in mind, but they need people who look like maybe their target audience, or a diverse audience, to be able to get a diverse consumer base. And so you and I, Tiffany and I, were at a mutual friends gathering a few weeks ago, and we just were catching up and talking. And Tiffany mentioned that she was getting back into doing more influencer marketing and doing the things that she had been doing. And I just we had this conversation, and I'm listening to you, and my wheels started turning like, because this is the Latched and Hook lady. And what is the Latched and Hook lady?
What is she doing? Doing influencer marketing. Right. She
what
needs
is
to be
she
latched
doing?
and hooking over there. Like, what is she doing?
What is she doing over here?
Yeah.
However, this is a very lucrative stream for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And especially when it comes to women of a certain age, those of us that may be a little bit older don't necessarily understand what the girls are doing over on TikTok or on the YouTube, but we do understand there's some cash exchanging hands.
It is.
And for nothing more than saying, do you like these glasses?
Yeah.
Aren't they cute? Well, let me tell you about the function and the functionality of these glasses, and also where I got them. Right. And if you use my code, and that being it, or less, because you got me on a scenario where you did far less than that and still brought home some coins. So I brought you on because I wanted to talk about my fascination with affiliate marketing, with social media influencing. And even though you have an incredible brand, this is also a revenue stream for you, which is a whole, another conversation about us having multiple streams of income, because so many folks, with or without their own brands, for those folks, this can be very huge. So I wanted to talk about that for sure.
So I actually started in the influencer marketing space in about 2010. So when I transitioned
early.
Yeah. When I transitioned out of corporate America, I worked at Bank of America. I was an AVP at Bank of America for almost 9 years. Transitioned out of corporate into entrepreneurship. And when I transitioned into entrepreneurship, that is what I transitioned into, which was influencing, and marketing.
Wow.
And so at that time, nobody knew what influencer marketing was. There were no influencer marketing agencies. There were bloggers.
Yes.
And bloggers were the influencers. And I didn't even know what a blogger was because I was in a corporate bubble. So I didn't know what was going on outside of the corporate bubble. So I had to learn what a blogger was.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, maybe that's what I want to do, because I like doing that. I like sharing, things that I do, places that I go. And you mean to tell me like you can, at that time, you weren't really getting cash for it. You were getting free things. So you might get a free trip. A brand may give you, free product. And that was like golden.
Yeah.
At that time, because it was like, wow, you're getting free things that might cost hundreds of thousands of dollars and you get it for free. I mean, I've been on, trips to Mexico for free and stayed in 5-star hotels and gotten flown there and all those kind of things. But really quickly, what influencers began to realize is this is not paying my bills.
Right.
It's all fun and games.
The gifts are nice.
The gifts are nice.
Yeah.
But
eventually Georgia Power gonna want these shoes ain't paying.
The
Georgia
shoes
Power.
Is not. Well, the shoes will help you walk up on out of there. Because your lights getting cut off, but it ain't gonna help you pay no bills.
Right.
And so I don't know who the first influencer was to do this, but when influencers started getting paid by brands, because somebody at some point spoke up and said, and they realized what their influence meant to these brands. They realized that when they were telling people, hey, I love this drink, or I love staying at this place, whatever, they realized that when they would tell people that, the consumers would go and patronize, and then the business would make all this money, and they weren't getting anything. They were just getting free product. And somebody said, oh, no. Like, if you
Right.
want me to do this, you're going to have to pay me. And then they came up with, they created what they wanted. And when other bloggers started getting wind of brands doing that, everybody wanted a little piece of it, But again, at that time, there were no influencer marketing agencies. And so the bloggers were their own agents, and they were creating their own contracts, and they were negotiating their own rates. And so we learned all of that in 2010, 11, 12. Now it's in 2024 or 2023, almost 2024. It's a lot more savvy. And the girls and the guys that are doing influencer marketing now and making money, they have agents.
Yes.
They don't even have to talk to the brand.
No.
They don't have to negotiate anything. The agents are doing it all, and they're coming back with the deals to these influencers. And we didn't have that luxury back then. And so when I got out of influencer marketing, again, it was because of the frustration of not being able to get paid what I felt that I was worth. And I knew that consumers were, my community, I knew they were buying things off of what I was suggesting, but I wasn't getting paid for it. And it was just frustrating. And when I did start to get paid, it was having to wait 90, 60, 120 days to get a payment. It was just frustrating. I was like, I can't do this. I got to go make some real money. And so, started the business and started doing other little things on the side. But now what I really love is that now a lot of things are just digital. You can apply to be a part of an agency. They'll check your credentials. They'll approve you. You get started on the platform, and then you just go off to the races and do what you got to do. Put that little link out there. And when people click that link, if they buy it, that agency is just cutting you a check. You don't have to even go through all this red tape. So it's so much easier now. And I don't know. I love sharing. I've done it. Like I said, I did it back in 2010. I've always been sharing. Matter of fact, when I first left corporate America, my business at that time was called the Atlanta Go-To Girl. And my job was to tell people where to go and what to do. I was sharing all the fabulous things that you could do around Atlanta, all the events that you could participate in. I was already doing that. Before it was a thing. Like, I was already doing it. So I've always loved doing that. And now that I know that I can get paid for it, I'm like, okay, sure. Yeah, I'm already doing it.
So the question is how real is this, and how are people actually getting paid? You alluded to it that, they connect maybe through an agency, or maybe they just connect through a website that is kind of a portal for all of these different brands looking for influencers. Do they buy products? Do products sent? Do they just have a code and then or am I just suggesting things to people and they, how does it all link up? How does it all link up back to me? And how do I get my check?
So all of what you said it could be a combination of all of that. It could be you or an agent pitching a brand. So let's just say, I don't know, let's just say Coca-Cola or what have you. It could be that brand, that agency, or you specifically writing a pitch, sending it to the publicist or the marketing agent, and coming up with an idea that's unique. Because the thing about it is, brands need unique ideas. They have a whole marketing department, whole PR department, and their job is to create campaigns. The problem is, though, these companies are not on the ground level of consumer thinking. Even though these are people, they're thinking with a corporate mindset. And a lot of those marketing agencies within these brands are not thinking at the basic consumer human level. So they create these grandiose marketing campaigns that, are effective and some right, but they don't
necessarily speak to the individual consumer that's using this product on a daily basis. It reminds me of what you were talking about with the hair market, with companies that are producing the hair but don't ever use it. you know, and not to say that these companies like a Coca-Cola or whomever aren't using their products. They certainly are, but they may not know the practical applications that real humans in real towns, how they are drinking, enjoying, or using this product.
Exactly.
And yeah,
and that's why they're
how it fits
using
into
the
everyday life.
influencers, because the influencer's job is to connect with a segment of consumers that is the brand's ideal segment of consumers. And so if you can really niche it down to segments of consumers that you've been trying to get to, and the influencer that you're going to tap has a real human connection with that segment of people, then you're going to use that influencer because they will be able to humanize the brand to that community, and it will feel genuine and realistic versus it coming from the brand, the marketing, which we know you're trying to get us to buy. Whereas if I look at this influencer who I've already made a connection with, this influencer has brought me into their home. I have seen this influencer birth kids. I have seen their kids grow from in the womb till 10 or off to college or whatever. Like, I have a connection with this influencer, like in their family. Like, some people just feel like I'm a part of this family because I've seen it grow. So if that brand uses that influencer who has a connection with this community, which I want to influence, I want them to buy my product, I'm going to pay this influencer to do whatever they want to do to sell my product to this segment of people because I want them as a customer. And that's how it works.
And what a lot of what you said got me. But what got me good is what you just said, which is whatever they want to do. Because there is a point where you can go on TikTok or you can go on YouTube and see like an unboxing. If you watched one clothing haul or unboxing, like there's not a lot of variation. I unbox the clothes. Perhaps I'll try on the clothes. Perhaps I'll decide, ask my viewers, should I keep it? Should I give it back? Whatever, right? There's only so much you're going to be able to do. But there ends up being influencers who stand out because they just decide, you know what? I'm going to do something different with this unboxing, and maybe I'll turn it all on its head, or maybe I won't even do the unboxing at all. Maybe I'll just try on the outfits and then I'll let you know where we got it from, and then you can go and buy it if you want or whatever. So there's so many different ways that influencers then decide how they want to present it for you to get the number of clicks or whatever it is.
Right.
So that the consumer can then go purchase it. You were telling me a story too when we talked a few weeks ago. And I wanted you to share this with the audience, just how you figured out how much. You were talking to me about a YouTube video that you came across and realizing that, and this was, I'm thinking a while ago, but realizing that, I need to step my game up. Because there's money to be had. Because I think there becomes a point where you just start to, let me test the waters. Let me post a thing and see if it sticks or whatever. But then when did that realization come for you where you were like, oh my gosh, there's money.
This is actually pretty recent. I was watching, I was watching a YouTube video. The YouTuber, her name, she's an influencer. She has a YouTube channel. Her name is Monroe Steele. And this is no secret. So I'm not telling like her business or anything. She actually has a video with this information. But in the video, she received a delivery from a marketing agency that I also am a part of. And they sent her some flowers, a card, and like some champagne glasses from Tiffany's. And she was like, well, let's read the card together. And so she opens up the card, and the card proceeds to congratulate her on making $100,000 that month. And I said, I'm sorry, wait a minute, where's my remote? And I hit rewind. And I was like, $100,000. And this is from one brand. So this particular agency reps Zara. And so Zara recently created their own affiliate marketing portal, because the one that's out there that a lot of people use is called Like to Know It. And Like to Know It, it was kind of like the first to roll out this shoppable link that helps people to get paid off of anything that a consumer will click and then purchase. So they are pretty much like the you know, the ones who got that started. And so I guess Zara said, well, we're not going to pay you Like to Know It to be on your platform. We're going to create our own platform, because to be on the Like to Know It platform, brands have to likely pay, you know, Like to Know It to be on the platform, so that influencers can find them throughout, you know, within the list. And then that brand can set what, you know, whatever their rate is, their percentage that they will pay if a customer actually buys. So Zara said, Like to Know It, that sounds cute, but that's cute. we're gonna create our own thing. So they created their own platform, and so Monroe Steele was a part of that. And so she was saying, she's like, you know what, guys, I really haven't taken this. I didn't really start taking this serious until January. So she made $100,000, and she just started taking it serious in 2023 January. And she made 100,000, and that's off of one platform. She has plenty. She has YouTube. So YouTube also will begin. You can start monetizing your videos on YouTube after you get a certain amount of subscribers and after you get a certain amount of hours watched. So after your viewers watch a certain amount of hours of your videos, and after you start getting, you have the minimum, I believe, is 1,000 subscribers. So once you get 1,000 subscribers and you get all of these hours of watch time, YouTube will start to pay you for your videos, because they start to include ads on your videos. Yes. She has 89,000 subscribers. So when she talks to her YouTube family and she puts those links in her description, 89,000 people who that decide. I mean, of course, all won't watch at one time, but still, her average may be, you know, 15,000 people that might watch a video. So that's 15,000 people that possibly can click that link and make a purchase. So she's making money hand over foot in different ways. Right. And so
just all the bags.
And that's why, you know, she's able to do videos where she's, you know, unboxing Bottega and Chanel and all of these things, because she's getting paid very nicely. And she, prior to her doing this, she was, I believe, a physical therapist. And she quit her job as a physical therapist to be in influencer marketing full time. And so that's a small story just to show that it can work. It can work if you give it attention.
And so many of us, you know, and I think I said this to you that day, it's like, damn, you know, we all went to school, got the degrees, got multiple degrees, still trying to figure out how to get our student loans forgiven if we can. And, you know, that menagerie of whatever. But, you know, when we see that people who did the same thing, who had the same path, right? We all went to school. Yeah. But then some of us said, you know what, I can do this work. And it is a lot of work. I'm not trying to say that it is not work, because you do put time in to do this. And we'll talk about the time that you put in. But I can do this, which might be more enjoyable work for me.
Exactly.
Less stress. I'm my own boss. So I decide when if I need to hustle more, or if I want to just take some time off, or if I want to pitch myself to get my vacation paid for, because mama needs a break and I'm willing to work on that vacation. So figuring out ways to do this, it's a beautiful thing. Now for you, when did the light bulb go off for you? Because I know that, like, watching that video was like, oh, wait a minute, we're read by the same people. Right. This is within reach. It is. When did things turn around for you with influencing?
I think the thing about it is, I don't think that I've ever got completely out of influencing. Like, even though I took a step back, for you. Yeah, it's natural for me. You know, Instagram is my choice of platforms. And so I've always remained consistent on the platform. I just never did it in a way where I specifically was aiming to get to have what I'm sharing monetized. And so I think what clicked for me was seeing that video where Monroe talked about she made $100,000, because I'm just like, I've been doing this. I can do this. I love doing this. You know, I just need to put in more effort, and I need to be more, you know, hyper focused on this, you know, like you can't, the thing about it is like, you can't do it sometimes and then not, you know, like you have to be all in. Yeah. And Monroe is all in. Like, this is what she does. This is her lifestyle. This is what she does when she wakes up every morning. This is her job. And so I said, I just have to be consistent with it, because people want to know, well, before I really get too far in this with you, let me see how serious you are. Right. You know, how long is this going to last? Is she just going to be posting about this for a month, and then next month it's just going to be sporadic and we're not going to see anything? Like, because people don't want to get invested and wrapped up in what you're doing and then you just fall off. And so Absolutely. I had to create a schedule of like, okay, when are you going to do your shops? When are you going to, you know, post things about, you know, whatever? You know, I had to be real strategic, create a strategy for it of what I, you know, when I was going to create content. I create content every day. Content every day. And so, and multiple times a day, you know, because people keep coming back. Yeah. And they want to, you know, they want to see what you've come doing. Up. Yeah, right. What you're come doing, up with,
what you're wearing. And I told you, I don't know if I said this while we were on, but like living vicariously through you over the last weekend was just, I mean, the bee's knees. I had the best time following you over the past week, because you were doing so many different things. Not that I had the energy or the inclination to do those things, but I was like, look at my girl go, and let's see what she has on now, what she's wearing. Mama went to New York over the weekend with a Neverfull, the big Louis Vuitton Neverfull. That was her luggage. That's all she carried. Okay. That was it. And I was like, no, that's not true. But she pulled out everything that was in that bag. And that's part of influencer marketing. It's like the most random thing that you could think of. But I imagine, you tell me if I'm wrong, I imagine that would be a wonderful opportunity, though, to pull out something in that bag that you could then connect to your Like to Know It page or Absolutely. To your Amazon storefront or wherever to say, like, this product saved me on this weekend in this bag and blah, blah, blah. And you can have it too, sis.
And a matter of fact, that's exactly what I did. So like I did like a little, you know, flat lay where I had, you know, my essential things that I had to have at Curl Fest, you know, which was my popcorn and my Dior lip gloss and my Black Girl sunscreen and things like that. And all of that is on my storefront, my Amazon storefront. Like you go on Amazon storefront and like all of those things are listed. And so, yes, it's, you know, you can tag the Neverfull, you know, it's like you take every opportunity to tag, because the thing about it is you don't know what people are in the market for buying.
Right.
And then too, a lot of times, even if you, sometimes like when you show things, it's not as effective as if you actually are using it or wearing it. Because you could post a picture and say like, oh my gosh, like I found these shoes or I found this dress or these glasses, but people can't see themselves in it.
Right.
They see it and they're like, oh, it looks cool, but
cute.
It's like,
it look good on the hanger, but how that look on?
Or even on the model, because things can just be deceptive.
Yes.
But the moment you put it on and you show it in action, people now get a better understanding. Like, oh, okay,
that's how you wear that.
Right. I could wear it like this, or I'm kind of her build, and you know, I like her style. My style is kind of like hers. So when I see her wearing it, I can see myself wearing it, and so it makes it real to them. It's just like when you're buying a house. You know, if you've bought a house, if you go in a house that's empty, it might look nice, but you can't really envision how you're going to live in that space.
But if it's staged,
Baby,
that's it.
Where do I sign? I want this house. I can see myself living. I can see myself watching
Right.
TV in here. I can see myself sleeping in here. I can see
Right.
myself cooking in here.
And by the way, can I buy the furniture that's in
Can
here?
I buy it?
Because I want it to look just
I
like
want to look
this when I
just
come
like
in.
this.
Yes.
Because I
yes,
can't recreate
yes.
this. And that's
Yes.
the same thing with influencer marketing. You can sell the empty house, and that can be the pictures that you post. And maybe
Mhm.
somebody will buy it because they get the vision, and maybe they won't
Yes.
because they don't get the vision. Or you can show it staged. And
Yeah.
that's why I do like what I call my try before you buys, where I literally go in store and I try on things that I love and show people how to wear it, because I know that when people see it on me, they get a better idea of how it may fit on them, and they're more likely to buy.
And this is the thing that I love too. And this is why I was like, you have to come on and talk about this, because there is this assumption then now, because of the way that the game has changed. Yes, they used to send a lot of clothes or a lot of products or a lot of whatever for you to just say, hey, look at me. This is what they sent me, blah, 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 go buy it. Right. But now, because the game has changed, there has been this assumption that I have to buy this stuff and talk about me having bought it and then get the kickback on the end. What you just said is a true gem, because what you have done, try before you buy, or watch me try it before you buy it, whatever. You show people products a lot of times that you haven't bought,
that I have not bought, and that I do not own.
And that you do not own.
Right.
You go in the store, try it on, capture a photo or a video of you trying on that product, or just, doing a little modeling job on some shoes, and then link it on your Like to Know It, or link it wherever, and still get the coin. And you haven't spent a dime. Nothing more than your time.
Because what people need to understand is that you're not trying to go in debt over this.
No,
you're not trying to go. You're not trying to go in debt. You're not trying to rack up credit cards. You're not trying to use Afterpay, Klarna, and all these things to try to make money, because you don't know if people. It's all emotional. It's how you catch people. It's how you evoke emotion when showing these things. Are people going to be moved to buy it? So you can't go broke over going to buy every single thing that you recommend. A lot of times I might create a wish list, or I might say, this is in my cart. Because it might be. And it might be sitting in my cart for months until I decide to, pull the trigger to buy it. It is in my cart. I did save it to cart. I didn't check out. So I might say, like, currently in my cart. And somebody may say, oh, just the fact that they know that I'm going to buy it. They want to buy it because they're like, oh, Tiffany's, she's going to have it. So I want that too. So you don't have to buy everything. Like, truly, I buy things that I love. And then there are just some things that's just like, it's just not in my budget right now. I don't, need to buy this right now, but I still want to share it because I think it's a great product, and somebody may be able to buy it right now. I just can't, know, and you can still share it and you can still get paid from it.
Oh my gosh. So what's been the biggest payday for you, or the most maybe even surprising thing that you got paid for that you weren't even expecting or didn't know was coming?
So my biggest payday and most surprising was when I went to Las Vegas, was that last month? And I went shopping in a lot of the high-end stores, and I went into Gucci. I tried on a pair of platform sandals. And all I did was try them on. I took a video of me trying them on in the mirror. I posted it to my Like to Know. And I don't really post like higher end. I hadn't prior to this posted a lot of like high end stuff because, I didn't think that my particular community was into that. I don't know why I didn't think that, but I just, maybe because I had not personally posted any of my personal high-end stuff. Like, even if I did post it, I never brought attention to it. Like, you might have seen me like carry, you know, a Gucci bag or a Louis Vuitton or something like that. But I never said like, oh, look at my Louis, look at my Gucci, look at my, I never did that. So I just assumed that my audience wasn't going to be, you know, isn't that type of audience. But I was just like, this particular, I'm just going to post it because they're really cute. The shoes were super cute. So I was just like, I'm just going to post it. And I went back a few days later and I had 5 purchases on that shoe. And those shoes were $900. And the commission for those shoes was like $124.
A piece?
A piece. And
so $500.
And I did not buy them myself. I just posted the video of me trying them on and posted it on my stories. Yep.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have work to do. We have work to do.
The light bulb went off at that moment. I said, oh, don't count your consumers' pockets.
Yeah. You can't get into other people's pockets and spend their money.
They will spend it on what they want to spend. What they will or will not buy. Your job is to just show them.
Yeah. Show them what's out there.
Show them what's out there.
What I love about that too is, and I think this authentically, I think this about the podcast. I think this about things that I sell as well. I think it always is better if I'm truly liking the thing that I'm recommending. Like, if it's something that I would actually wear or something that I'm lusting after, or even if I like you said, I really relate to that. Like, oh, I love those shoes, but I ain't spending, you know, whatever it is on them. But I want to try them on. They look so cute. Yeah. Oh my gosh, let me figure out a way to get a second mortgage on the house.
Right.
Whatever it is.
Right.
But like, I don't necessarily have to break the bank in order to get the coins.
Correct.
Like, that is a beautiful story and such an inspiration. And people, I think that they can't do this because I can't spend all that money. And what you just said is you don't have to spend a dime to make it in this particular industry. So if someone would you suggest that someone wanting to do influencer marketing or social media influencing or affiliate marketing or any of that kind of stuff, would you suggest that they start with like to know it, or would you suggest they just go to those brands individually, or what's the best way to get into the game?
I think that the best way to get into the game first, before going straight to you know, the commission side, is really building a community first. Like, build your community first, you know, invite people into what you like. Just before you start trying to sell people on things in terms of like, oh, you should buy this or whatever, show them what you like. Just naturally, you know, just turn your camera on. You know, we do things all day throughout the day, from cooking to putting on our makeup to doing our hair to dressing ourselves to running errands. You're doing so much throughout the day that literally you could take a couple of minutes just to turn your camera on and just show people what you're doing. Show people what you're interested in. If you're in Target and you're going up and down the aisle and you're putting stuff in the cart, show people what you're putting in the cart. Like, let people know why you picked up the Flamingo shave cream. Why do you like it so much? Because this is what you always buy. And it's just it's just starting with just the natural progression of sharing, I think, is the first thing. Because I think people want to get straight to the money, but don't have a connection with the audience first. So I think, you know, and I've spent, like I said, I've been on Instagram since Instagram started. So I've been sharing all of this time, you know, and I just have gotten to the point where I'm just like, oh, this is what I'm, you know, this is where you can go get this. Because before, I wasn't telling people where you could go get it. I was just showing them. And a lot of people were embarrassed to ask where I got it from, you know, because they didn't.
And now you can just put a link.
Now you can just put a link, and they don't have to ask. And because they don't really want to, because either they want to just get it without anybody knowing, or they just feel ashamed by asking because they think that you're going to say no. And so by you putting the link up, it just takes that guard down, and it's just like, okay, if I like it, I can just go buy it. And so I would say first, just, start sharing. And then, and also too, in that, the reason why I say that part too is because when you go apply for affiliate marketing companies like to know it, you have to go through a vetting process. So it's not like you just apply and then you just automatically get approved. Like, they don't let everybody on the platform. So you have, before they approve you, they're going to look at your account and see, like, are you already sharing stuff?
Yeah.
And so if you're not, then it doesn't really make sense to them as to why that they would let you on the platform, because they're like, you're not just naturally sharing things anyway. So like, why would we let you on? And so that's why I say, go ahead and just start sharing things. Start doing it because you like it, not because you're trying to like get paid for it. You know what I mean? And then go to Like to Know It and sign up for those platforms. And same thing happens with when you're writing pitch letters to brands. You write a pitch letter to the brand, the first thing that brand is going to do is they're going to go to your page to look at your page. They want to see, are you interacting with your audience? Is your audience interacting with you? When they ask you questions, are you answering back? Or are you leaving them on read? And so if you can't show that you're already doing that, they're not going to respond back, because if they give you product, if they give you product, you're not gonna engage with your audience. Like, if a customer comes to you and asks you a question about the product, if you can't answer them just on some regular stuff on your page, you're 9 times out of 10 not gonna answer their question about the product that I gave you for free. So you've gotta like create the things that you want to, like, don't wait for a brand. Like, I don't wait for brands to come to me. I don't wait to like pitch brands. If I genuinely like something, I will create a campaign on my own just because I just like it. The brand may say, I'm like, oh, we saw that you did this and it's amazing. That's how I got Express. I got on with Express, and I had already been doing try before you buys in Express. So I had already been sharing their clothes, telling people, buy certain things, showing people how to put together, outfits in Express. Had already done it. So when it came to work with Express, all they had to do is look at my page. There were different videos already on my page of me showing Express before I even engaged them.
I love it. I love it. You are dropping so many gems about those of us who would love to get started in this market. Is there, I know you said your day is you kind of have to be very diligent about your schedule, making sure that you do things and you post every day. Is there kind of a rhythm to your day though? Do you have I wake up, I do this, and then I go on Instagram, and then I do this, and then I go on YouTube, and then I go out and I shop and I record all these things. And then I use Tuesdays as my day to like put together a board of when I'm posting everything. Like, is it that regimented?
It's not that regimented for me. The only thing that's regimented is really, my Lashed and Hooked, regimen. That's, pretty regimented, but I also have employees, so they know what to do. The only thing that I would say that is pretty constant, I have a lot of content in my phone. So I have so much content in my phone that I have enough really to probably last me another couple months, that I don't really have to go out and do anything. But because in fashion, things happen so quickly, new products come out, the stores are getting things in every week. And so you want to stay on top of your game because you're also competing with other influencers who are getting it out in front of your audience as well. And so for me, I like to use Sundays, and I usually will go to the mall on a Sunday when they first open, and I will spend the whole day there recording content. I'll go in different stores and I will look through the racks for new stuff, things that I haven't seen before, things that I haven't seen other influencers post before, things that are unique, because a lot of times you begin to see a lot of the same things on the same influencers. And it's like, you have to figure out a way to, again, just like I talked about how to differentiate myself from Curl Salon with Lash and Hook, you have to figure out, how am I going to differentiate myself from all of these influencers, and that a lot of them are doing the same thing. A lot of them are doing outfit of the day. A lot of them are doing get ready with me. A lot of them are doing, you know, cook with me. A lot of them are just doing a lot of the same things. And so you have to figure out, like, how can I be a little different? Not recreating the wheel, but how can I be a little bit different? You know? And so for me, I wanted to start exploring new brands that I hadn't heard of before, exploring stores that, you know, maybe they used to be hot and they kind of died off, but maybe there's some hot stuff in there. Like, you haven't been in there in a while, so let's go in there and see, you know, what we could put together. Trying to find Black owned designers, and, like, you know, a Nordstrom or a Saks, you know, and putting them out on Front Street, you know, shopping boutiques. So, you know, you're always just trying to figure out, like, okay, how can I be different? What type of content can I create that I haven't really seen? So although I do love fashion, you know, I also, like, I just started a YouTube channel, and
I saw that.
And I'm so excited about it. I'm so excited.
Hello, Tiffany.
Yes, hello, Tiffany. And I'm actually, right before this this podcast, I was actually taping a swim edition that I'm going to be doing on Black swim designers. And so I taped half of it, and I've got 3 designers that I'm going to feature in this video. And I taped the first designer. I taped all of those suits, and I've got to put on these bathing suits, get in front of the camera, talk about them, you know, all of that.
Yes.
And so, you know, that's something that I hadn't seen. I hadn't really seen like people talk about, like, Black swim designers, or if I've seen them talk about it, I haven't actually seen someone get in front of the camera trying on the different bathing suits, letting people see, like, how it looks on a natural body, a body who is still struggling with weight loss, a body of a mom, you know, all of that. And while I'm trying on the bathing suits, I'm also talking about some of my body insecurities that I have, you know, and how I'm still trying to navigate that, and how I'm going, you know, doing the weight loss and all of that. So it's like, you know, just trying to figure out, like, how you can make your content interesting. How can you be a little bit more transparent than you were the last time, to really let people into your space?
Wow. Amazing. And this is the last question, but I'm wondering how you do this. So Michaela Pabon of Dressed in Joy was on a few weeks ago, and she talked to us about her just toggling between her company Dressed in Joy and then also the influencer campaigns that she's done as well. So this conversation has been going on for a minute, and we started it with her. But she was at a point where she felt like she needed to step back from the influencer portion of what she was doing and pouring more time and attention back into Dressed in Joy to grow that some more. How do you balance the work? Because you just mentioned that, like, how do you balance your, like, the bread and butter of Latched and Hooked with this other passion that you have, which is the influencer marketing, and making sure that and then you also are a wife and a mom and just a whole actualized human being, you know, like, how do you balance all of those and give each area what they may require at any given time? Because it's a lot.
It is. And I answer that question how I normally answer the question when people ask me, how do I balance things? And for me, it's not about balancing. It's usually about prioritizing. And so, you know, you have to figure out what ranks highest on your priority list at the time. It also, for me, you know, you have to build a team when you have a business. And so I've been doing this for 7 years. And so, you know, a lot of my team has been with me for at least 3 or 4 years. And so we're doing the same types of things every day. So everybody has their job that they're supposed to do. And so it does free me up to be able to have a little bit more time to do things like influencer, because for the past 7 years, I've been building my business to the point where I don't have to work in my business. I can work on it and not necessarily in it. And so you know, I know that my packages are getting sent out because I have a warehouse manager and that's what she does every day. So I don't have to go. I used to go to the warehouse and feel so guilty and think that I needed to be packing orders too. And then I was like, wait a minute, I'm paying her for a reason. I'm paying her so I don't have to be here. But it took me time to realize, like, you don't have to be in there. Like, you hired her to do this.
Yeah.
You know.
But I imagine it's also really scary to hand over your baby to.
It is. It's about
and allow somebody else to do that.
Yeah. But it's also too, I had to also let go of thinking that my business was my baby. Because a lot of times when you have that, when you think of your business as your baby, it's going to be hard to let go, you know, especially if you're a mom, you understand how that is. It's hard to let your baby and your kids go. And so I had to release the thought of thinking that my business is my baby. It's not my baby, it's my business. And so I hired people to do a task and to do a job. And so that's what I hired them to do. And I've got to let them do it. Now, if they don't do it, then I've got to find somebody else to do it, you know. But I can't coddle people in positions that I'm paying them to do, because I cannot do my job. And my job is to raise money for my business and make money for my business. And I can't make money for my business if I'm there packaging orders. Like, that's not the best use of my time. And so, but also too, the influencing part for me is something that I love personally for me. And so I have spent a lot of time through counseling and, you know, like speaking with my therapist about doing things that please me and bring me joy. And doing this influencer piece allows me to satisfy that part that I need to do for me, because I like it.
Yes.
And in turn, it allows me to be even, you know, more joyful in running my business as well, because I can do both, you know. And you don't have to overextend yourself either, even like in the influencer part. Like, I might post and then I might not post for the rest of the day, but at least there is a post there that you can see, you know. Yes. But you realize people want more. They want more. They get a little bit and they're coming back like every hour checking, did she post something? Did she post something? And I might not, you know, that might be all you're going to get today. And there might be another, I'll leave you hanging. But then there might be another day where I might post 20 things and it's like excessive. Yeah. So it's just, you know, you find, you know, those pockets of time where you can like, feed that hunger of being able to do something that you love, and then also being able to go and turn your attention to something else that you need to do.
I love that. I love that so much. And I love how you've been able to create this life that feels incredibly authentic and accessible, but also very much just chic in every single way. I so appreciate all the work that you've done for the hair community, for the Black community, and also in the influencer space, because it is so important, I think, for us to see people who look like us in this space crushing it. Because when I see you doing it, then I know that I can do it too. I know that our listeners and viewers know that they can do it too as well. And that there is a very accessible and easy way in. You just have to do it and and you're not talking about spending a whole lot of money to do it. Just do what comes naturally to you, talk about, and really bring forth those things that you are naturally passionate about. These are the things that I heard, that you naturally love to do, instead of trying to spend your time and spinning your wheels promoting products that you don't really care about, because that will come across too. But yeah, I can't thank you enough for having this fascinating conversation with me. Let's talk about where people can find you, because I need them to understand that yes, Mama's an influencer, but she also has a business, and she also has a YouTube, which we've alluded to as well. So the YouTube, is it hello.tiffany?
No, it's just Hello Tiffany. So if you go, if you go to youtube.com and then /Hello Tiffany, I should pop up.
And you guys, please realize, okay, we don't spell our names the same. Right. Okay. It is Tiffini.
Yes.
Okay. Tiffini. Hello Tiffini,
Yep.
over on YouTube. And then they can also go to Latched and Hooked, and that is latchedandhooked.com.
Yep. So latchedandhooked.com. We're on the social media platform. Instead of and, it's just the letter N. So latched and then N, hooked. On Instagram, and you can find all the inspiration on protective hairstyles. You can find our QVC deal on there, and in our website, to purchase things. And then I'm on Instagram, Threads, all of that as Tiffany
we
Gatlin.
Can't forget Threads.
I know Threads. I'm there. And I'm on those platforms as my first and last name, so Tiffany Gatlin. So usually if you just spell my first name, I'll pop up, because there's not a lot of people spell Tiffini. So
absolutely not. And it's interesting because I want to talk about this QVC deal, because I know there is something, you have a couple of more of the
turban wigs. The turban wigs. Yeah, we're down to our last supply of the turban wigs. We have a little less than 200 left, which sounds like maybe it's a lot, but it's not a lot. We only have it in black. We had black and brown. Our brown sold out like 48 hours after we actually went on QVC. So we haven't had brown since February. But we have black, which is like a natural black. So it's not like a jet black. It's just a natural black. It's a pre-tied turban wig. So literally you just slip it on like a hat. And it has a little drawstring in the back where you can loosen or tighten it in the back. So there's literally no excuse for a bad hair day. You literally can just slip it on. You can leave your edges out if you want it to look more realistic. We have videos on how to put it on, how to take it off, how to accessorize it, and all of that. And yeah, if you Google Latched and Hooked and QVC, we'll pop up.
Oh, I can't wait. Please go out and find that, honey, because that seems like a dream come true for those of us that just want to roll out of bed, brush your teeth, wash your face, and go. I love it. Tiffany, I love you. Thank you so much for coming on Intimate Details with Dr. Tiff and talking with us about all the things. This is fun. You'll have to come back and we can talk about, she's alluded to her weight loss journey. And that is another conversation for another day. We didn't talk about it today because we would be here for 2 hours and we are already doing the most. But that is something that we can talk about. Oh, what I was going to say that I didn't say, and I was going to say it when we did the introduction. Tiffany decided, I usually ask my guests to send me a bio and send me a photo so that we can do all the promos and things. She knows where I'm going with this. She sent me a photo and I was like, who is this woman? This is not you. It was her, but it's not the girl that's sitting in front of us today. She's like, well, the other pictures, my hair is blonde. They won't know me. I'm like, they ain't gonna know her. They're gonna be like, that's not the lady that you interviewed. If you don't send me another
I need to get updated photos. That's really the story behind it. I really need to get updated photos.
Don't we all?
Which I actually just got the ones that I took at the blonde, because my hair was platinum blonde, and I literally took those pictures 2 months ago. And now my hair is not blonde anymore. And so I'm just like, okay.
You look more like the blonde lady than the other lady that you sent me.
Because I was also like probably 30 pounds heavier on that picture too. So it was just like.
I mean, the things, I wasn't going to say it, but since you did, yes.
Yes, I was.
Don't know her. Yeah. Okay. Don't know her. So I'm like, she's like, but they won't know it's me. I was like, girl, they ain't gonna know it's you anyway with this picture. And you look exactly the same as the girl with the blonde hair. Okay. So you know what? Just give them blonde. Okay. Give them blonde if that's what we have to have. And I don't necessarily think you have to have new photos, but if you feel like you need new photos, like, who am I to tell you not to go for a photo shoot? But the pictures on the promo are this lady. Please check out, share, like, subscribe. Thank you so much for tuning in. And just please continue to send your questions. Last week we did a Q&A episode, Ask Dr. Tiff. We got so many questions, but we know that we didn't answer all the questions. So in the show notes, on Spotify, there's a Q&A section where you can actually ask questions for Ask Dr. Tiff or for any of my guests, really. And we will do more Ask Dr. Tiff episodes where we can answer some of all of your questions. So thank you so much for tuning in to Intimate Details with Dr. Tiff. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. We are on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Amazon Music. We're on Google Podcasts. We're on iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, all the things. So thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next week. Ciao.